Hello and welcome to section 8.2, which is on special right triangles. Theorem 8.5 talks about the first special right triangle, which is a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. So in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, both legs are congruent, and the length of the hypotenuse is square root 2 times the length of the leg. So my example is, what is the length of the hypotenuse of a 45, 45, 90 triangle with leg lengths of 5 square root 3. So if you are looking at the theorem right here, it says all I need to do is take the length of the leg, which is 5 square root 3, and take it times square root 2. And so keep in mind here, you can only multiply what's square roots times square roots. So square root 3 times square root 2. So I have 5 square root 6. And that is my answer. Since this cannot come out evenly, the square root 6, and there's nothing that I can take out of there, and there's nothing I can square to get out of there, I just leave my answer like that. Another example, the length of the hypotenuse of a 45, 45, 90 triangle is 10. What is the length of one leg? So now they're telling us what the hypotenuse is on this one. So on this one up here, they gave us the length of the leg. So this one's gonna look a little different. So this one, 10 is equal to the square root of 2 times x, which I don't know what x is. It's the leg. So divide by square root 2. Oops, I didn't mean to put that negative there. So 10 square root 2 divided by square root 2 is going to be equal to your x. Okay, and I can't leave it like that. I can't leave that square root in the bottom of a fraction. So I have to rationalize it, which means I need to get that out of there. The only way to do that is to multiply it times something that would be equal to 1. So square root 2 divided by square root 2 is going to be 1. And if I take square root 2 times square root 2 here on the bottom, you get square root 4. And on the top, you have 10 square root 2. This square root 4 comes out evenly. So now it's 10 square root 2 over 2. And now I can reduce the 10 and the 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my answer is 5 square root 2. And if you don't think that is correct, you can check it out by doing this. So 5 square root 2 is one of the legs. And if I take that times square root 2, I get 5 square root 4. Square root of 4 is 2, and 5 times 2, guess what? That's the 10 that you started with. So it did work. The other type of special 90-degree triangle is the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. In that type of triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is twice the length of the shortest leg, the shorter leg. The length of the longer leg is square root 3 times the length of the shorter leg. Okay? So if I want to find the value of the variable, and remember we always want to do simplest radical form here. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And so the 30, 60, 90 says that the length of the hypotenuse is twice the length of the shorter leg. Okay, well they're giving us the hypotenuse right here, and that's double the shorter leg. And I realize my drawing here probably looks like the legs are equal, but the one with the X by it is the shorter leg, so that would be half of the hypotenuse. So my X is 20, and then right here it says the length of the longer leg is square root 3 times the length of the shorter leg. So then very simply, I just take 20, square root 3, there's my answer. And then I have another one for you. And this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, but we can still use the same concepts here to figure it out. Okay, so in this one, on the left-hand side here, I have a 45, 45, 90. Okay, so if you go back up to the rule, it says that both legs are congruent. And the hypotenuse is square root 2 times the length of the leg. So this right here is the hypotenuse. And they took that times square root 2 of the legs, which are equal. So therefore, A equals 7, and C also equals 7. Because I know that this A right here is 7, I just proved it. I just found it. And then I can go ahead and use the rules for the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So we know that the hypotenuse is double the length of the shorter leg, which A is definitely shorter than D. So then my B, which is the hypotenuse, would be 14. And my D is square root 3 times the length of the shorter leg. Well, the length of my shorter leg is 7. So 7 square root 3 would equal your D. So these are just special rules that you can use because these are specific types of right triangles. They will always work the same. The 30, 60, 90 and the 45, 45, 90, they will always work like this. So bring that knowledge with you. We'll talk about it more the next time we see you. Have a good night.